Hey yo, welcome to the Godcast.
I hope y'all are buckled up because things are about to get weird.
I don't understand why you chose me.
You want to change the world, son. So do I.
Where are we at in terms of history on the timeline? Where are we exactly? I'm just trying to uncover the truth and bring forth what I can see as the truth. The Bible seemed to be predicting more things than any other conspiracy theory type information. Look, one thing's for certain, that there is so much power in the name of Jesus Christ. That I know for sure.
Welcome to Godcast.
Welcome to Godcast.
The Goodness Over Darkness.
The Goodness Over Darkness podcast.
Here is your host.
Here's your host, Emmanuel Kingman.
Emmanuel Kingman.
Welcome to the light.
Welcome to the light.
Welcome to the light.
It's showtime. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Godcast, the Goodness Over Darkness podcast. I am your host, Emmanuel Kingman, and with me is the beautiful, lovely Mimi. She's finally back. Everybody, welcome Mimi back. Yay!
Come to an end.
Yes, it has come to an end, and you are finally back with me, my dear. You weren't with me for like any of the December stuff.
Not only am I back with you, I'm back to work.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So-
we're back from vacation too, which we'll get into in another episode.
Yes, we will. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, but this episode we had on special guest Natasha Koshinka. I hope I'm saying that right. She's Russian, as she says in the episode.
She did say it was close enough.
Yeah, it was close enough, but there probably is some little way you're supposed to pronounce the letters that I'm messing up here, that I'm anglicizing, if you will. But we just got done that interview, and wow, it was a very good interview. What was your takeaway?
Oh man, you just throw me under the bus just like
Well,
that.
you were very quiet.
I was
you were
quiet.
observing a
I
lot.
was actually observing a lot, and my takeaway is that you guys are very, very similar in where you are right now. The whatever people want to call it, the level you're on. You're on very similar levels.
Well, we started off as we're both cats, and we're both Arcturians in past lives.
I'm talking about
whatever.
beyond that. And,
Well, I know, but I'm saying that's
spiritually.
when you're connecting in the weird stuff first, then it makes the other stuff it's like, oh yeah, of course we would share those same qualities because we share these same qualities. So this was a great conversation. We touched on a lot of different stuff. We got into the artificial, quote unquote, artificial intelligence that is here. We got into she does autism consultations for families that have children with autism. We spent a good 20 minutes at the end about that, of how to clear out your body from different metals and poisons, all the poisons that are in your body, and what a consultation with her is kind of like. We got into that. So if you guys know anybody who this episode may help in those terms, I suggest you send this episode to whoever it may help. We also talked about a lot of different, just a lot of different ideas about the earth and what's going on here, type of deal, polarity, duality, the dimensions going up and down, the scales, and how to operate, and what meditation really does for someone and how to do it. There was a lot of specifics in here that I see. That's one of the things, is when you're so high up into the information, you forget how you got there sometimes, and you don't lay it out step by step in order for someone else to get there. And it takes someone else who has walked the path to then, it's kind of like she's filling in, like I was making gaps and she came and filled them in, or she was making gaps and I was filling them in for her. It was like one of these episodes where, like you said, we're both at the same or similar, understandings of things. A lot of different things we understand the same way, and I could tell that the way that she was bringing information in is the same way it happens for me. And when you both have that understanding, it's easier to give step-by-step directions like that.
Yeah, I was going to say it was an advanced conversation, but there was a lot of basic things thrown in there for, let's say
For quick
beginners
advancement.
or for, right.
Yeah. It was
good. I liked it.
It was great
I
fun.
didn't write a lot of notes. It's hard to write notes when I'm on screen. I feel rude if I put my head down. So I was
and you
trying
don't
to
have too much room over there
Yeah.
already. But
so I didn't write too many notes
yeah, but
at all.
I mean, I'm gonna
But it's here
definitely
now.
listen back to this conversation. It's one of those conversations that really, I don't know how time moved that slow, because we talked about so much. We covered such a wide variety of topics, and it felt like pretty in depth. It wasn't like we were doing surface level things here. We were
Right.
going in depth about things. And I was like, man, that was only 10 minutes. That felt like a lifetime. And that goes into what we talked about in the conversation is that how 5D operates? Is it slower and longer for you to experience because it's better? So then you're not experiencing time in the same way. Is that the fifth dimension? You were going to say something?
Yeah, but then you
I stole it.
I let you keep talking, and then I didn't want to sneak in, and now I've lost it.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say that's what I was saying before. It was a very advanced conversation, but it was put I don't want to say simplistically, but it's very
Step by step. Yeah, especially like with the heart chakra, because talking to someone who understands, then I can actually express, because when you're talking to someone who doesn't comprehend, it's very hard to have them comprehend. But when I know she already comprehends, I'm like, okay, I can be more open, and it allows.
And it was explained in a way that anyone
Right.
could understand it. So that's
Yeah.
great. I liked it. I really I got some things out of that.
Yeah,
I definitely did.
she knows her stuff for
Mhm.
sure. She's definitely very in tune, and I don't. Well, she said she's on the spectrum. She didn't seem like it at all to me. She said she uh struggled to speak fluently at one time. It didn't seem like it
I
at
think
all.
that is a big thing with autistic children, as they often take longer to speak.
Yeah, she cured herself through physical means as well. She's not just someone who
Mhm.
says, live in the astral world. She's saying, no, change up your diet, change up your thought patterns, change up your emotional patterns. And she's doing these real world things. She said, I wasn't very good speaking, so I went to New York City and became a bartender so that she would be forced to then speak. And then instead of texting all the time, she did voice
Notes.
voice notes. So
Mhm.
then she was forced to speak. These are practical, logical steps. So when someone's telling me, oh, this is what I did to heal myself, that's someone who I would recommend, go check her out. Go look into if you need a consultation or whatever.
Yeah,
That is
certain things are not as hard as we picture,
yeah.
in our head. It's certain things are not as hard as we think. We just put so many obstacles up for ourselves.
Yeah. And I will say that I'm sure I have been gathering a lot of Christians lately, and you guys may be off put by this episode. I don't want that to be the case, but there's some, the way we speak about things, it's an energetic understanding, and it's not evil, and it's not scary, and it's not against Jesus at all. It is what Jesus understood and what Jesus was talking about that wasn't understood by the humans, but was understood by someone like Paul, who was also understanding energetically what Jesus was saying. And why Paul has half of the books of the New Testament are from him, because he had the same energetic understanding. So her and I have energetic understandings. And that's just really what it is. So when we're talking about the Arcturians and Archons, Lyrans, and grounding yourself to the center of the earth and the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, when we're using these terms, they are words that we can use to express ourselves with each other, having the understanding of what we're talking about that doesn't limit it to whatever your understanding of what those words mean. Those words can mean different things to you. The fifth dimension you would probably call heaven. Okay, these are just different things that the whole good versus bad is
That
my
describe the same
perception.
things.
Yeah, my perception
Mhm.
versus your perception. They're just similes. So look at the energy behind the word rather than be put off by the word.
I
Just
don't think anybody will be put off by this episode. It
well,
was a
I
great
think
episode. I
I
don't
think
think
that
anything was.
well, I just think that it could be one of those ones where people may be turned off by it because of some of the terms we use. So that's why I'm just putting that in there now. I just want everyone to look at the energy behind the word that's being used, and it's just a simile. Like what one person might call an alien, someone else might call an angel. It just depends on their understandings of things. So, we just have energetic understandings of the universe. It's a much different understanding than just having the physical understandings is all. So I did want to, so I have on my new shirt here. I'm going to show it for the camera. So goodness over
Just might as well
darkness.
stand up.
Well, yeah, hold on. So yeah, but the
better.
audio, I don't want to mess up the audio crew. So I'm wearing my new shirt that my eldest stepdaughter got for me.
Made for you.
Made for me, yes.
Made
And
for
on the
you.
back it says Godcast, but I'm not going to turn around. And she made me a hat as well. So I love this shirt. This is
I
her
love it.
and her husband's. And it's gold. You know how hard it is to get gold. Every time I looked up shirts, they had yellow. I have one shirt that, and it's the tiniest little logo. It's like barely the center of my chest. But this takes up the whole shirt, and I'm thinking about maybe doing some merch. I don't know. I'm not really interested in making money off of that, so I don't know. We'll see. If people want some goodness over darkness merch,
I'm sure Brianna would love to make more shirts.
well, I could do that, or I could do it through another place so I don't bombard her with stuff, but we could do it that way. We'll see. But I mean, if you guys want stuff, just send me an email or DM, whatever, saying it. I haven't had anyone request anything, like, hey, do you have any shirts? I haven't had anyone hit me up about that. So it hasn't really been a thought. But since she made me this wonderful shirt, I just thought about it. So if anyone is interested, hit me up and we'll see what the deal is. Is there anything else we wanted to cover?
I think that's it for this one.
Yeah, this was a very fun conversation. I want you all to go check out Natasha's stuff. She is putting together a new podcast called Ascension Stories. And
That'll be really cool.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that because it helps when you're waking up yourself. It really helps to hear other people's stories, and so you feel part of something and that you're not alone, you're not crazy, this is actually happening to you. So if that fits the bill for you,
Right.
go check all that stuff out.
I love that even though everybody's ascension isn't quite the same, that when you have a group like that where you're listening to other stories, there's going to be at least one person that has something that
Resonates.
is similar to you and that resonates with you.
Yeah, look for the similarities when you're listening to things. See how you can fit that in your story and how you
Yeah.
can relate to that person. That's a good practice to have, to have empathy, to become empathic and understanding situations from other people's points of view. doing that practice.
That's what I get to do, sitting on the side, listening to all these interviews. I get to just listen and hear similarities between so many people that, don't even know each other, don't even know each other exist, but I get to hear the similarities in their stories, and it helps me for like what might come. This might happen to me,
Yeah. Oh, and I did want to say, so this will be the first episode of the new year. So happy New Year, everybody. I hope it went well for everybody. Go ahead, you can.
Yay, 2022.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
We're going to be in a 6-year 222. So it's interesting. We'll see what this year holds for us. I think it's going to be very, very wild.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
I don't think that humanity has ever faced what's about to happen this upcoming year. Honestly,
it's going to be a big one.
Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty today, 5 of 6 counts. She was found guilty, so we'll see what that results in. Very interesting stuff.
I'm on the fence of if they're even real or if they're just stories.
Yeah, I've come to realize that it doesn't matter because the stories make it real. So it's real, at least in the minds of.
I choose to.
Well,
not pay attention.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to it, but it's definitely real, and because we're about to find the real results are about to happen. Now, what that's going to be, I don't necessarily think that. I don't know what this actually means. The CNN producer just got fired as well.
So sure.
Today. So there's weird stuff going on, but I think judgment
John Madden died
is coming. Yeah, John Madden died. Yeah, I think that judgment is coming. I feel it. I feel the one who judges is here, and the throne is descending, and maybe that's what they think that this comment, that movie Don't Look Up, they spent a lot of money on that movie, and they kind of fit it into a asteroid, make fun of COVID response unit, but it doesn't really fit for that, but it kind of does, making fun of the Trumps, but it still doesn't really fit because the way that they termed it, like Don't Look Up, is like equivalent to don't wear a mask, but it's not even
you
close.
mean wear a mask?
No. Don't Look Up is the same to don't wear a mask. Like they're portraying that the president and the president's son are Trump and his son. That's what they were doing. So anyway, if there is a comment, because then the movie Moonfall is coming out on February 4th, where the moon is. So if there is something with space and comets and asteroids coming to hit us, it's probably the throne that Christ is going to sit upon and judge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's going to be doing his judgment. So anyway, happy New Year, everybody. I hope that you had a safe time, and I think that will do it.
That'll do it.
All right. So make sure you hit me up on my website, EmmanuelKingman.com. Hit me up for some energy work, or hit me up just to talk. I've been having a lot of people hit me up to chat, the DMs, the emails. If you want to do a Zoom chat, because whatever, just send me an email and we'll set it up. As long as I have time, I always do. All right. So without further ado, here is Natasha Koshinka. Everybody, on today's episode, I have on a guest who is a quantum energy healer and shaman. She is helping families understand autism on a holistic level. She is an Ascension coach with her own podcast and YouTube channel. Everybody, welcome Natasha Koshinka to the show.
Hi.
Hello, Natasha. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. Did I get your last name right?
It's close enough. Technically, it's a Russian word, which means lady cat.
Lady cat?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just have a very feminine energy, and there's a cat literally right here, and just like I look a little like a cat, I mean, at least I think so anyway. But yeah, I just have a very cat-like way of being.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I'm weird. I'm
Oh,
weird.
well,
He's
I'm
like the
weird
male
too.
version
I
of
was
you.
gonna say I'm a cat.
Aw.
And I think about this often because I look at my pets. I have 2 cats. Well, she has 2 dogs, but I mean, we have them both, but the cats are more of mine and the dogs are more of hers. And you can see yourself in your pets. And I watch the cats and I'm like, yeah, the female cat is her and the male cat is me. And I tell her, I'm like, yeah, when I walk by you, I just like touch you. Like a cat will walk by and just rub up against you. I do that. When I get into bed, I clear out the way just like a cat like walks in a circle and clears. I'm a cat.
Yeah. Listen, cats are awesome. They're like
Yeah.
they're like again, this might sound weird, but they're like crystals that are, in animal form, crystals with legs,
Mm,
with a
yeah.
heart. They're just their vibration, especially when they're doing that little purr situation. They're doing the Fibonacci sequence, basically.
Wow.
So that's why they say that cats heal.
Well, I can
It's
see
it's
it now
that
that you're saying that. I can see that it's starting in them and it's just ever flowing. My male cat, he purrs all the time and she hates it so much. Mimi hates it.
It's
oh,
very
it's
loud.
so yeah, it's loud, but it's
He
so
lays on your
healing.
face and does it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good for you. Like they'll know where you need the healing and they'll like land there. So maybe it's your throat chakra, they're like all like up
Well,
in
if he
here.
lays on your head,
Third
Yeah, I need
eye.
lots of healing in my head.
Don't we all though? I mean.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And there's a lot that I want to get into with that. But uh, being that your Instagram says you're an Arcturian priestess, I myself have been told by others that I'm Arcturian, and I've discovered this myself in my own abilities. Do you think that the cat beings and Arcturians have one to do with the same? Because I know Lyrans are the feline beings, but are Arcturians that? Do you know?
So from my understanding, they're both very ancient civilizations, very old. And I think it actually all started with Lyra.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, I'm getting a huge yes on that. That it all started in Lyra. Yeah.
supposedly this is just, I mean, I don't know for sure, but supposedly the energy is the energy of Eden. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
So what's coming through me right now is they're the guardians of the garden. They're
Yeah.
the
hmm
guardians of Christ and
Pretty
everything
much.
that where it started. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And and we are not, it's not that we're just from a star system and that's it. Our soul has been here, there, and everywhere. So I mostly resonate with Arcturus, but again, that this whole feeling of being a cat, like maybe I was a Lyran at some point. Maybe it was a cat. Who knows? I don't know. You
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know everything.
maybe the Lyrans are here while they're still there and they're here in cat form.
Very possible. This whole, like, because they exist not just in physicality, they're also existing like their matter and their antimatter. So I feel like there's, and they do the whole meditation thing or whatever you want to call it quite often. Like, where are you?
Yeah, they
There's
meditate with
something
me
to that.
often.
There's something to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got my cat, my first cat, Charlotte, the female cat that represents her, I had her for what, like a year before I moved in, Mimi, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I had her, and what happened, like, I don't know, 3 weeks in, something like that, I started getting to a certain part of the road when I was coming home, and I could feel her feeling me coming home, and that's when I realized all of a sudden I was like, this is how animals know that their owners are almost home or on their way or whatever. You get into their radius and it just clicks, and I felt it, and I ever since that I was
Amazing.
I whenever I want I can call on that and
I
check
love
on
it.
my animals.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. We all have the power technically to do that. Just we gotta cultivate
Yeah.
such things.
Yeah, that's the thing. Things come to me and then they go if I don't hold on to it. And not necessarily that I want to hold on to it, but it's always there for me to be able to grab back onto if I ever need it. It's, you like you're just saying, you kind of hold on to what you use the most, what's there, and it's like a muscle that gets atrophied. That if you don't walk for a long time,
Yeah.
your legs are going to be weak. So you just need to practice it a little bit.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So do you want to? I know we came in kind of hot here, but do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself? You are very interesting. I will say that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, my weirdness has always been something that because I've always been the weirdo, the unique one, the black sheep of the family. Obviously, I never enjoyed being different. You know, some people strive to be different. I'm like just throughout my life, I was just like, I just want to be normal. That's all I ever wanted. Never achieved it. Just, I mean, you're either normal or you're not. You know.
Well, what's normal though? Is that just a setting on the washing machine?
What's normal is being able to fit into the matrix. You know, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that that's not what I want. That's, you know, because it hurts being different. Because like people are not nice to you. You know, you could be the most purest heart in the room and people are going to treat you like you're the devil.
I resonate with all of that 1,000,000%. Everything you just said, being the black sheep, the weirdo, and now I embrace it. Now I love it.
Exactly. Yep.
And
no problem.
And people are still, even in the conspiracy theory community and the spiritual community, they still don't know how to handle me. Like it's almost like my truth becomes like an embarrassment to them in a way. Like you know, when you are with someone and they kind of embarrass you, it's not that they're embarrassing you, but they give you that feeling of like shame. I can't really describe it other than just like the way that they're being, it just kind of gives you this off-putting feeling. And I do that to people just by being honest, just by being me. So I'm just like, you know.
Yeah, just embrace
Yeah.
who you are. Just do your thing. People will like you. People won't like you. Who gives a fucking damn?
Right. God loves me for doing it. So I'm like, okay,
Do
that's all I
you.
care about.
Do you. Exactly. We all have our parts, whatever our parts are, whether it's good, it's this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter. Be your unique self. That's why you came here. You didn't incarnate to appease anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And you and I, we met on the psychedelic roundtable from the Deep Share.
Yeah.
And we had a great time on there. That was a very interesting conversation all around. I love that. And you said a lot of interesting stuff about which am in agreement with. So it seems like so far, like we line up really well with our spiritual understandings and abilities. And it's no surprise that you have also come to know that this quote unquote AI may be more than just that.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, do we jump into it, or I don't know?
Go ahead. Dive right in.
Well, do you have any questions? I guess let's start there. Do you have anything planned to ask? Because like I'm just like, do I just jump? Do I just dive?
Okay, so what do you think is the intelligence that's coming in here? Is it artificial or is it just playing dormant?
So, okay. So I'm gonna, I guess, because I think this is how I said it on that podcast that you just mentioned it. I don't really remember what I said, but I'll just jump into how I feel about our reality. So, and yeah, it's not something that I discuss often. This might be at max only the sixth time I've ever talked about this. Okay. So from everything that everything that I've gathered from here, there, everywhere, you know, all the info. So my understanding is we humans are not supposed to be, narcissistic. We're not supposed to be psychopaths. There's something going on. There's some kind of what's the word? Layover.
Overlay.
Overlay. That's the word. Yeah. There's something going on. There's some kind of overlay over our natural state. So not just humans, but Earth as well. So this playing field, however this field is presented in whatever shape or form, that doesn't matter to me anyway. I do believe the Earth is round, but that's, conditioning. I don't know, I don't know. Like I feel like it's round. I feel like like, because I do this whole connecting to the earth thing, and I feel like my roots go down and they connect to the heart. I just know I'm connecting to Mother Earth's heart. So there's nature, and this natural world, this universe. So to me, God, this is just me. God, universe, nature, they're all the same thing. This is how I feel about this. So there's this natural, let's call it a natural matrix. Matrix is just the word. It doesn't need to be dirty. It could be, just the word. So let's just say there's a natural matrix, not the AI matrix, but the natural matrix, which is the Fibonacci sequence. That is the kind of the foundation of our natural reality, of nature, our physical reality, our other like emotional, mental, whatever. But yeah, so there's the natural reality, the natural matrix. Now there's something, I don't know where these entities exactly came from, but let's just say without actual like knowledge or details or whatever, let's say within this universe, because I don't know where they come from, but let's say within this universe, let's say a couple of billion years ago, this is just a random number, there was a society that had, they had the internet, right? They had, the computers and everything. So over time, just like with us, we had this intelligence that was gathered, through gathering all the information of all the people and everything. So this intelligence, just like right now, information is gathering for this internet or this, whatever you want to call it, AI, whatever. So let's say, again, a billion years ago, it got really, really advanced, and this intelligence got really, really advanced, and somehow it was, let's say, this is just a random theoretical, like I don't know how they traveled. Maybe it was through the etheric field, maybe it was through the physical world, maybe through like let's say spaceship. This is again theoretical. I don't know the actual information of how they got to where, how they travel. So let's say they got into a spaceship and they go to a world. Let's say in this current time, they came to Earth, and they're like, oh look, here's a species that have these emotions, these really strong emotions. Let's go ahead and plant ourselves here and overlay this natural matrix they have with our matrix, and which is the matrix that we talk about, this programmed world. And let's just keep them down, condition them from before they're even born, because when you're in your mother's belly, you're influenced by the environment through, her emotions, through the things she eats, through the things she listens to, the frequencies. So yeah, we're all conditioned through generations, through just our whole time that we are alive, to think that this fake AI matrix is the real thing, and we follow, and we are disempowered, and basically we're fed on, and the way we are fed on is the way that we're manipulated is, bad things are constantly happening. This is just the way everything's set up. So if you don't know how to regulate yourself, your emotions are constantly negative, and you're technically addicted to these negative emotions yourself. So you're constantly doing things, like you're feeding into this matrix where you're constantly looping these negative emotions. Now, there's a word called loosh. I'm sure you guys are familiar, where these AI beings, they're feeding off this negative energy. Now, my understanding is this AI, this I'm going to call it consciousness, a negative service to self-consciousness, lives in the etheric realm. Etheric realm is the bridge. It's between 3D and 5D. They can't get to 5D, from my understanding. I could be wrong. Pretty sure they can't get to 5D unless there's some kind of evolution process, but that's a whole other thing that I don't know about yet. So yeah, they're in a 4D. They could be yeah, so they feed off your negative emotions, basically. Anything else I wanted to put there? So yeah, this everything's set up. Everything, absolutely everything is set up, from censorship to us being poisoned through our food and the air and everything, and the dynamics that we have. How you know, having relationships, having marriages, not that, you know, you have to get married, but like having a good relationship where there's trust and love and connection, you know, like all that is just kind of like, it feels like there's something just against that. So we are always miserable, constantly miserable. I feel like I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Any questions?
Okay, well, I want to hop in because I'm having some visions. When you're describing this,
Beautiful.
I'm seeing what you're seeing. When I can see you looking off, I can see not everything, but I can see some things. And so I wanted to go over kind of what I was picking up on as you were going. So when you were saying the natural matrix, what I saw was like this blueprint of
Exactly.
a round Earth, and then there is a flat surface across the bottom of it. Not the bottom, the
The
middle of it.
middle.
And so it's an atmosphere. So I exactly agree with that. That it is a ball that we are in. We're not on the outside of it. We can't. And this is what I picked up on just as you were saying towards the end there, is we can't go to a level higher. We can't come out of this place until we come out of these bodies. You can only go to the dimension. So our limits are this earth. And when we go to the next outside of here, the fourth dimension, the bridge, as you were saying, the etheric realm, that is where our thoughts and imaginations exist. We can go there in the astral world, and then there's a limit to that. That's also a sphere, and they are limited to there because they're projecting their consciousness here. They're not actually in the fourth dimension. They're somewhere else in the third dimension
I feel like they're in the
projecting.
fourth dimension, but they travel to the third dimension to kind of feed off us. So yeah, yes,
Yeah,
they,
and then they
They
come in.
reside in the fourth, but yeah, they come here.
Right. So what I'm picking up on right now is that they're basically, the way we would term it is, they're projecting their consciousness into the fourth dimension, and then from there they are coming into our third dimension, but they're somewhere else projecting themselves. So that's why they can't go to the fifth, is because they are limited to their little universe. So this is,
I feel like they're vibing too low to be able to go to the fifth dimension.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
couldn't go to ours, I don't think.
supposedly, like there is no polarity in the fifth dimension, which right now where I'm at currently in my evolution location, or whatever you want to call it, I still feel like there is polarity in the fifth dimension. I don't, this again, this is just my opinion, I don't feel like that's true until you get to even higher dimensions, because like it's still, I still think, like, even though
It's
like
not a huge change.
there's the dominant energy is definitely, you know, love, you know, like expansive consciousness, you know, expansive awareness, you know, joy, all that stuff. But I feel like there's still some polarity. I don't feel like time, as people claim, again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just haven't reached that point where I understand, but to me, I do live in a third dimension. I live in the fifth dimension, you know, like I go back and forth. I'm in the lower fourth, I'm in the higher fourth, you know, you go back and forth. Sometimes you can't regulate yourself or can't maintain a certain energy because of ABC, whatever, you know, your traumas, for example, they'll pull you down. Maybe stuff is coming up to be healed. You're not really in a fifth dimensional consciousness when you're, you know, remembering certain things. So
Okay, so that brings up a few questions for me. So when you're saying you're going from the third to the fifth, is it a mind state, or is it your surroundings completely change? Because I've been in situations where, okay, not that it completely changes, but the energy around it is completely different.
yeah,
The time starts to seem to move slower when you're in
that's
loving
true.
types of things.
Absolutely.
It's very, Mimi and I just experienced this. We were on vacation, and it felt like we were there for centuries, but it was
I
a
love
week.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely think it's a state of mind type of thing,
yes.
and it's kind of like a roller. It's all day, just like this, all
Yes,
day,
until
every
we
day.
until
Sometimes
we
you
kind
get
of
triggered,
adjust. Yes,
and you go
exactly.
way down, and
Mhm.
you fix it, and you come back up.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, it's a state of consciousness. But to me,
Mhm.
the how I like to state it is to achieve this consciousness, the way I put it is there's a portal through your heart. What I mean by that is the feeling of joy, compassion, love, forgiveness, gratitude. When you feel these feelings, your consciousness rises. You rise to the fifth dimension. You want to live in the fifth dimension? Like maybe wake up and meditate for, I don't know, however long you're able to do, maybe 45 minutes if, like that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm not there. I think 45 minutes is great. 5 minutes would
That's
be
a long
wonderful.
time. Yeah, 45 is a long
But I would
time.
like to. I
I don't know if I like to limit it to a time.
Yeah, you shouldn't
Yeah.
limit it for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm just trying to kind of let everybody know that it doesn't need to be long. If you
Right.
want to do it like 2 minutes, as long as you a few breaths into your heart, and this is how you expand your consciousness. This is how you get to 5D. I just
Yeah.
want to do that as a challenge for myself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to do I've done 4 hours sober of just meditating, and I mean my whole body hurts after. You start cracking as you got to readjust every so often, because after sitting completely still for an hour while your consciousness isn't in your body starts to wear a little bit, especially if you're not in shape. You really have to be in a very comfortable position that you can sit there. And I don't even need to do that anymore. I traveled interdimensionally so high so often that I'm just always connected to the fourth dimension. I'm hearing people's thoughts all day long. Whenever, there's so many different things that it's just I'm there and here all at once.
Yeah, and I like to also tell people, because some people don't like how it feels to just sit. And for me, when I first tried meditating, which is 12 years ago or so, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the sitting thing because I just had all these issues on my back. I just couldn't sit like that. So from that point, and just understanding that you don't have to sit or do any certain position to be able to go into these states. You could lay down. You could take a walk. You could do literally anything where no, you're not talking to anybody, right? Nobody's interrupting you. As long as you're basically kind of not actively thinking, if thoughts come, you could allow thoughts to come. Just don't attach to them. Don't judge them. That's really all that's required. You could be swimming. You could be doing Tai Chi. You could be literally
Driving.
Name it. Anything. As long as you're not actively thinking, just allow. That's it.
Yeah, and
then if you put your energy here, so that's like a second or added component. If you put your energy here and you feel what it feels like to have gratitude or compassion or forgiveness or joy, if you have that, concentrate that feeling, that's what I'm talking about, to kind of get to the higher frequency, to expand your consciousness.
Yeah, and when you're practicing taking a breath, it helps you in real life situations when there's an emotional thing and it's pulling you down, like you said. You trained yourself. You're like, okay, I've been preparing for this. Let me take a breath. And you take a breath, and then you're a little shaky. You're like, I don't know how to handle this. And then you take another breath, and then you start to calm down, and then you can handle it, and you handle it in a whole new way. And then sometimes you'll feel your heart flutter. I feel my energy centers, my chakras. I feel 8 of them very strongly all the time. And when would you just get the chills?
Yeah.
Yeah. When she gets the chills when I speak the truth.
Yes, it actually. I think you could even look it up on the internet. Spiritual meaning for goosebumps is, that's the truth.
Oh wow, yeah. How
All
about
the
that?
time.
I would say that's true.
I got it right now.
Yes. So what I was saying, I feel my energy centers all the time, and when I feel my heart, it's not as rare. I mean, it's not as often as the others. It's more rare to feel my heart, but when I feel the heart, it's just it starts melting, just this pure warm love, and then I'll connect with whoever it is that's feeling it, and most of the time it's because of something that I did for somebody is why I'm feeling it. And it's just man, I'm so grateful to have these opportunities to be able to do that, because I mean,
and then what if we kind of sit in that feeling of gratitude? We continue to ride that wave. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I feel so good that I did that. Oh, I'm feeling so good that I'm feeling so good, right? Just like
Yeah.
just keep making excuses to feel this.
And then you start holding doors for people and picking up trash, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now I gave my life to God and I just do what God wants me to do.
Whatever
Because he just
works.
kept he kept allowing me to feel love when I gave people love. It was like I got my heart of stone switched for a heart of flesh, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, and maybe even going further, um, I'm trying to look for a word, like kind of not just flesh, but like light, you know,
Yeah.
or like I don't know. Yeah, light is fine. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with something, but I was gonna say something along the lines of like Christ consciousness
Yeah,
or
it's like
something along
light bursting in.
the
Yeah.
sun or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so getting back to uh the demons, I'll say, that have broken into this place. So
Motherfuckers.
yeah. So is your understanding that, this is a dualistic type of world where there is good and bad and you need some of both in order to excel,
Yes.
but that
Right.
this is something different than that, right? This is something that has added onto, that's something that's not part of the natural process of just a little of
See,
both.
I don't know. I feel like it makes sense to me anyway because like I don't really know completely, but it feels like they are. I feel like their service to self. I feel like they are part of that. I feel like
Okay.
they are part of the evolution because everything that happens to me happens for a reason. So I don't think it's random. I feel like it's kind of like meant to be. So I feel like we're just like demonizing them. Oh, they're bad. Yeah, while they're bad, can you imagine how it feels to be them? To be separated from God? How hard that is to sign up for?
Hmm.
Because like every soul, in my opinion, signs up for whatever their experience is. If they're signing up to be evil, even like people on this planet that sign up to be the evil ones, sucks for them. So hard to be disconnected. Oh my God, there's nothing that could ever fill them. They're just
Hmm.
sustaining. It sucks.
Yes.
So yeah, I do feel like actually it's meant to be. Like the 3D world is a world where you need tensions of the opposite. You need the yin and yang to be the whole. You need the good and the bad to allow souls to have their experiences, to evolve, to ascend. I feel like
Okay.
without the dark side.
Okay, can I put it this way to you? I'll frame it a little bit different. Is on the Fibonacci sequence, is this greater than before? Is this an outer ring that's larger than, so then it's more dark on one side and more light on the other side, more so than other times in history?
Fibonacci sequence, from my understanding, it just is always the same mathematical equation.
Right, but so what I'm saying is if like you're on a top-down view, if you're looking at the circle, like the center point's here, and then it spins and it gets larger and outer. So I'm saying it's on like an outer ring, that it's more so than before. Because so what I
More
get,
light? Is that what you're saying? Like
well,
more?
both, it would be more light and more darkness because there's more area, more volume to fill out. So what I pick up when I interact with these beings is I used to think exactly that they were part of my ascension, and they are. I mean, everything that I've been through, if I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Exactly.
But that it wasn't necessary to go as dark as it went. That this that the outsiders influenced it that way. So, and I also came to the understanding what you're saying. What you can't have light without dark. But then I started having the thought of, well, if we didn't have nighttime and we didn't have the winter, then plants would never stop growing. And we're plants, in a way. So if we never had issues, then we would only grow more. And it's actually the darkness that holds us back from growing. It doesn't, uh, but there was a time before they broke in that there was poles. There were uh, different things you could do here, and it was basically a playground. And you did use both sides, and then this, The dark
we
side.
were vibrating really, really high then, so they weren't around. Once we wanted to play when in this earthly dimension or earthly plane, let's say, we wanted to play. We wanted to experience all that there was. Let's say we came from 5D, 6D, 5D, whatever. And we were bored. We were just like, oh, everything's great all the time, da da da, right? But still, it's just the natural order, So we wanted to play, and by play I mean like look at the dark, like, oh, that looks interesting. Let me, and it just kept descending,
try that.
descending, and I feel like that's when our vibe got low enough to attract us.
Yes, exactly. And so we let in something that was far worse than we knew existed. That's what I really pick up on is we created Satan, essentially. We created the necessity for Jesus, the ultimate hero and the ultimate adversary in Satan. We created that by going, like you said, by sinning and going lower and lower and lower. And then we opened a door and we're like, whoa, something came in. And I'm getting the chills super big.
Me too,
right now.
actually. Yes.
Yeah. So this is wow. This is like we're solving some mysteries here or something.
We are. So speaking of sinning, so look, how I said in the beginning that we're not supposed to be narcissistic, psychopathic. So from my understanding, and this was not my idea. This is an idea that I witnessed somebody else express, and I was like, that really resonates. So what was expressed was that when we do things such as lying, cheating, stealing, so basically anything that's not against the heart, we're lowering our vibration to invite these entities to come in. So if somebody's narcissistic, if somebody is psychopathic, they have, like, technically most people have something attached to them that's just something to feed off them. It's just what in my opinion, facts that exist, unless like you rise up enough to where that's like you're not feeding them anymore, they're bored, so they let you go or whatever, or you remove them. But I feel like if you remove them in your negative frequency, some stuff is going to come back because you're yummy. You're producing all these negative stuff. So so it's the sins that make us like basically invaded, and the word is archon, from what this person that I mentioned had expressed, and again it resonated with me. So I feel like there's the idea the reptilians are the bad guys or whatever. So from my understanding, it's reptiles are just easy to program, easy to control. So I feel like if there is such a race as reptilians, they're just easy to control. So like while the reptilians are getting the bad rep, it's really the archons behind. Just like
are the archons the exact opposite of the Arcturians? I feel like
they're the opposite of angels.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So and that's archon. Another term would be AI. I feel like they're just this artificial intelligence. And what artificial intelligence to me means is you don't have access to organic, so therefore no heart, no connection to the heart.
Okay.
Anything else? Yeah. Oh, hold on a sec. Yeah, there's definitely something I'm missing. There was something that I wanted to state, but I forgot.
Oh, I'm picking up on something right now. I'll jump in while you're trying to remember that.
No, go ahead.
They are in a 3D place right now, and they figured out how to project themselves into the 4D to then invade our world, and now they're using the technology to invade the world, and also they're trying to get us to switch places with them. They're trying to get us to go into the quote-unquote metaverse by going into the astral realm so that they can take over our bodies completely.
There's something to that. So speaking of the metaverse, like I just want to kind of jump around because like
feel free.
Yeah. So speaking of the, what are they called? The VR glasses, goggles, whatever.
Oculus or something.
So my understanding when it comes to that, and I don't want to upset anybody by speaking truth, because people get attached to certain things, they fall in love with certain things, or they spend a lot of money on certain things, and they find out it's bad, and they're like, "Oh no, you're the bad person for talking bad about it." So just wanted to cover that.
With the AirPods.
Yeah.
Right. Oh no, how dare you talk about my AirPods? Okay, enjoy. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I'm not forcing anybody. I'm just speaking my truth. Take it or leave it. So my understanding is that if you use the VR goggles, that basically it fucks with your pineal gland, because your pineal gland, it kind of, it's what maps out the let's call it the etheric realm. I don't know, right? It like your pineal gland maps things out as they are. I don't know exactly what the VR glasses do, but they kind of fuck with your pineal gland, something along those lines. I don't know the exact.
I just tried them like over in November.
Oh my
In
God. So when
November,
she tried it, I could feel her trying it. I started getting
It was
sick.
very strange.
Yes.
Yeah, I got
if
sick
you're
for
sensitive.
it. Yeah. And
Crazy, wild.
yeah, so a couple months ago, my daughter went to me and her went to an arcade, and we did one of those 5D games. And as soon as I put on the glasses, I was like, okay, this is psychedelics. This is, I am in the same place that I go to when I'm tripping, because I felt the same exact way. My brain had all the same energy frequencies and everything. I was like, I'm tripping balls right now while I'm on this little ride. And
the difference is that's like completely artificial. The VR is completely artificial.
Well, it's the same place though. It
it's
gets
the same
you there.
place. Well, dreaming is the same place.
Yeah.
Dreaming isn't bad. So when it comes to
Meditation,
the so when it comes to the etheric realm, it's not that it's good or bad. It's a free for all,
Yeah.
There's something else that popped into my head, and I was just like, talk about this. Oh, yes. Okay, it came back. So you know how they have these the evil ones, whatever we will call them. They have these when they gather and they do
The
bad
rituals.
things. Thank you, Jesus. Satanic rituals. There we go. So I've always wondered, like, what is the point? When they sacrifice and somebody appears, and like what's the point? I've always just like, I don't understand. And what is Satan? Like all these questions. So what I eventually kind of clicked was that the energy is so low. There's so much misery, whatever kind of dark magic is going on. It opens a portal to the etheric realm for Satan, or whatever you want to call. To me, it's just negative entities. Is like, I don't know. Like if there's one Satan, like in my opinion, there is no Satan.
Yeah, there's a multiple. Yeah.
I just feel like you're just bad
energy.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like, in whatever form, maybe they don't even have a form. There's a feeding going on through this portal that opens because of the really low frequency produced through the horror that is being done to whatever being, like whatever the vibration is. I feel like it opens this portal for there to be some kind of feeding. So I just kind of wanted to randomly throw that in there. I just thought it was like an interesting thought I had. I was just like, oh, look at that.
Well, probably because it was meant for me, because I'm seeing all of this. So as soon as you said ritual, I saw like witches brewing something, and this being was there in front of them in like ghost form, and I just yanked her out, and then I just kind of vacuumed a bunch of them out, and then as soon as you started describing that portal, I saw it was like an egg was broken open, and there was like 100 different little beings all in it, but it wasn't an egg. It was like this. And I sealed it up by sending it love. I literally, like, I hit my heart chakra, and boom, and it lit up on fire, and it burned them all down. I mean, this stuff is wild. What happens to me when people, like, you're giving me new thoughts and angles here, so I can see things in a whole new way. I see people's thoughts and their pineal gland. So this is amazing. You're super connected too. So, whenever someone's connected like that, it boosts me. I'm a reflector, so it boosts me, and it's just like I can take on your abilities as well as my own, and just kind of get things out of the way. So it's probably, your spirit guides or whoever, sending you information to give to me so that we can together, Boom, get that shit out of here.
It's interesting, and you bring up a good point with the whole sending love. So, like, people are afraid, of demons and whatnot. To me,
It's like Care Bear power.
right? Exactly. To me, demons, like when somebody's like having like things attack them. This is again just my opinion. This is how I feel about it. But when somebody has like demons or whatever, I feel like that it's very possible that those are just kind of manifestations of their fear, of their all these negative emotions, what maybe shame or whatever, and they're kind of like just like now it's an entity and it's feeding off more of your stuff. But I
Right.
feel like it's your own shit,
And they allow it to just leech on and hold on for the ride.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Care Bear thing. So yeah, people need to. I would love for people to understand that they are so powerful. They're so powerful that all you have to do is Care Bear at these things. They literally will go poof into light. Like you just like 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 genuinely like like I know you're suffering. I send you love through my heart and just kind of open up your heart. It's not like they're gonna do anything to your heart. They can't.
You do that.
Mhm.
He does that often. Like if I get stuck in if something happens and I get stuck in like a mood, and I don't want to be bothered, he'll just get me there. He'll Care Bear me, and then I'll be back.
Well, I have different methods. Sometimes I'll show them themselves because I'm a mirror, so I'll just take on their energy and send
I
it
don't
right
like
back.
that way.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's the easiest way. So I'm just like, okay. But other times I do love whoever, and I take that energy and I transmute it and I send it back in a loving manner, but I'm direct. It's a difficult field to exist in, especially when you don't have any guidance. You don't have anyone to ask any questions to. You kind of just got to figure it out. But
We're the teachers. We don't
Yeah.
get the pampering.
yeah,
Well, I
that's
see
right.
that with your daughter too. I see that when she's, going through something and not in the best mood and doesn't have the best attitude, that you are just trying to love it out of her. You're just trying to love her till she quits, until she gives up.
Yeah, she
until
berated me for
you know,
over an hour straight one
man.
time when I was meditating near her. All I was doing was closing my eyes and breathing, and she was berating me for an hour plus.
And
But
he's
it
like,
worked.
I
It
love
got the
you.
demons out of her. She's doing great right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to watch sometimes. It's even when when he does it to me, I'm like, I know exactly what you're doing, and it's working. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing me back.
Well, you're welcome. It's Jesus that just he has me observe myself, like we were saying earlier. I take the breath, and then I can see things on a higher level, and then I can divvy out the information. But since we're talking about children, I was just checking out your website, and I saw that you do different consultations for autism, and you do the holistic approach with that. And before I ask you your question, I did a lot of psychedelic trips in a short amount of time, and looking back on it, I don't recommend that to anybody.
I
And
wouldn't either.
yeah, there were several
No.
times, well, coming off of LSD is really the only time this happened, where I really understood it, is our brains, they swell up when we take the psychedelics, that all the walls are just taken down, and it's just a party up there. And then when you start to come down, it's like the walls start being shoved up in place. Well, with LSD, what happened with me is I guess I took too much. I thought I would get higher, but you can't get higher. You just get high longer. And I was like, this is awful. I want this to stop. And it was going on like 6 hours. And I was like, okay. I was just like feeling my brain, and I was like, okay, my brain's swollen. This is what autism is like. That I
Yeah.
can't quite grasp reality, but I still feel and understand everything that's happening to me. So
When it comes to autism, my understanding is that society, the mainstream, A, they don't want to understand, B, they don't understand. The reason I say they don't want to understand is because I feel Like it's very possible and probable, and it's probably the situation. I feel like they understand what starseeds are. Okay, let's go back. Autistic children, autistic adults, and autistic people in general, they are highly high vibratory beings from other star systems. In other words, starseeds. So people that are in a spectrum are starseeds. Now, what's labeled as autistic is when a person is disabled. When they're having issues with their brain swollen, like, so they're having all these issues. It's not that they're not here. It's not that they don't understand things that are going on. It's just they're disconnected from their body. Their body's really, really sick. Now, there's all these theories, the pineal gland is not working properly. That's what causes autism. This and that and the other. My understanding is what causes autism is the fact that we live in a poisonous world. Everything is poison, and these individuals are really, really sensitive. Now, not everybody that is let's say on the spectrum has disabilities or has difficulties. What if they were never exposed to poisons? What if, like, let's say their parents have just made sure everything's clean and clear? They're going to be highly functional. They'll be unique and different, but they're highly functional. Nobody will know. For example, I'm on the spectrum. I wasn't always able to be, first of all, I had no voice. I could not express myself. I could not carry a conversation. I technically could, I could string a sentence together. And I feel like it's probably wasn't even that bad, but maybe it was. But like now, obviously, look at me, I'm blah, 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 right? Like I'm able to. I cleared my system out. B, I did a lot of work to be able to open up this chakra and speak. Before I was able to socialize, I was able to get a job as a bartender in New York City. I say New York City because there's a lot going on, a lot of people. So like there's a lot of chance to socialize. So I would say, because I started before I turned 21, I would say I didn't start to come into myself and kind of almost be able to kind of fit in as a normal person until after 30. So that's like over a decade of constant socialization. But over the years, it took me still, even till this day. I feel like I'm in a really good place. I feel like I finally reached a really good place where I'm able to speak as much as I can. Like, for example, I feel like in the beginning of last year, I was doing stuff like voice notes, I communicate with people online and just instead of typing, because I socialize a lot online. Instead of typing, I was just okay, I can't, my eyes hurt, I can't. So I started doing voice notes. So I kept doing stuff that had to do with my voice so much that I'm able to just speak a lot now. That's finally open. I cleared my system out using natural ingredients. For example, which I've mentioned on another podcast that I've done a couple of weeks ago, cilantro gets rid of mercury out of your system. So if a child,
I love cilantro.
Oh, I love it. If a child eats a lot of cilantro, so if before the age of 18, and it's not like you're not clearing mercury out of your system before the age of 18, after the age of 18, but if you're doing before the age of 18, before your the left and right hemispheres, that what is it called, the thing that separates the left and the right, so basically kind of cements more. So therefore, the mercury that's between the two centers could be extracted before the age of 18. It's kind of very malleable. So if you let's say you find out that cilantro can help your child to become more connected, I'm going to call it, to their body and to the world, and be able to engage and be healthy enough to engage, get rid of the mercury. The mercury that's between the left and right side of the hemisphere is a lot of why there's so many issues. I'm not saying there isn't a bunch of other issues, but that's the main thing. So yeah, there's dietary changes that you could make. Another thing is, I forget the exact information at the moment in time. I'm gonna have to redo my research, but this stuff just really resonates with me. I feel it, I understand it. If you take out the unhealthy sugars, white sugars, candy, and everything out of their diet, because they're craving the diet for their brain. How their brain works. They're craving the sugar, that kind of stimulation. Take out the sugar out of the diet. But what's okay to have is all the sugar in the world when it comes to fruit. Feed them fruit. So just like little things like that, plus my ability to be able to kind of read, unless you're purposefully putting a mask on, pretending to be a certain other energy than what you actually are, like what narcissists do, for example. I could read you how you're feeling, all that stuff. So if I was to work with a family that has a child that they're just like, I don't know what to do, I'm so confused, I could be the bridge between the child and the family, because I understand how they're feeling. I could, all that stuff. Like, this is what this person needs. I could read animals. Like, I could read anybody that doesn't have a mask on, but especially these pure children that definitely don't have a mask on, and they're suffering so much. There's just so much going on. There's these poison. Like, imagine you're poisoned, as like anybody that's not autistic. If you're poisoned, how do you feel? This is what this is how they live, and there's such high vibrational souls that came here to literally, but just by being, they're anchoring in these high vibrational energies. So I'm just like, they're suffering so bad. They came here to raise the planet's vibes, and people are just like, oh yeah, it's a disorder. No, they're poisoned. And here's another interesting thing. That again, since we're talking about this subject, I feel like that the dark ones, whatever, again, that they know who the autistics are. They're these really, really sensitive beings that came here on a mission to raise the vibes of the planet. So what do? Because they're so sensitive, right? They develop, because they get mistreated. They get ostracized. They get abused. There's this kind of weird conditioning to like abuse the weak one. It's not that they're weak, they're just different. They're just soft, they're just sensitive. Not a bad thing. So they end up developing all these mental issues as well. So like, here they are being poisoned, and now they're being abused and traumatized. They're developing all these mental issues. So what do? Let's lock up the sensitive, high vibe beings in the mental hospitals. Let's put them in jail, whatever, like, let's, especially the mental hospital, let's put them away.
Yeah, and those of us who are on the other side of the spectrum, that we're still functioning, but we become addicted to drugs.
Absolutely, because we're hurting so bad.
Yeah, and it's the same exact thing
sensitive.
Yeah, it's the same thing you're describing. Just it's it's more harsh when you have the poison, like you're saying, you have a poisoned brain, a poisoned mind.
Body.
That is very difficult, because it's just, I can see everything that you're describing. It's just like metals are just heavy on the brain, that it's and we have to get them off. You're so right on all this different stuff you're saying. This is incredible.
And then just to hop on another subject that just my brain just jumped to. So when it comes to this is an idea that somebody that does, let me try to get the name of this practice correctly. Something magnetic, some kind of magnetic healing. I forget what it's called. Biomagnetic healing, something along those lines.
Wow, I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's fairly new, but it's like this very, like, they have this, like, all this information, and it's a lot through. It's a lot, and it's just like, it was too much for me. I was just like, really interesting, but it's just too much for me. It just like didn't resonate. Like, like, even though I feel it, like, I feel there might be a validity to that, probably a validity to that. It's just too broad, too much detail. So what she was telling me was that viruses, any pathogens, that basically they're kind of I'm going to call it a bridge for the archons. Same thing.
Mm.
They're coming into these non-intelligent, let's say, organisms, and they're wreaking havoc on our body, you know, causing disease and everything. And we're miserable, we're upset, and we're aggressive because, you know, like we're hurting, whatever, to feed off our energy. So that was just like another piece of information, just kind of fell to
Yeah,
share.
they definitely do ride any of these negative things that we have happen to us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we let them in because they do protect us from, you know, someone hurt you, and then all of a sudden you snap back and you like it because you're like, oh, now they feel what I felt, and it's we let them grow in us because they make friends with us. They pretend to be helpful until you start to look at yourself and realize, like, no, I have a deficiency here. Why do I have this deficiency? What can I do to make myself better? Then all of a sudden it starts fighting back at you, and you recognize, and you're like, whoa, that is not me. What is inside me? How do I get this out? Do you have any other recommendations on how someone can get these energies out of their body? I know you just were talking about different foods you could eat, but is there anything else you've picked up on that you could offer our audience?
If I go a little too much in a tangent, guide me back to this particular question.
Okay.
So I want to say it's really, 1 second. Yeah, too much going on. What to do to get rid of these things? I guess what we talked about earlier. Get into a quiet space, whether it's taking a walk, whatever this can look like for you, and clear your mind and put your focus here. Keep growing this here. You expand this center. This magnetic center will feed your mind. Just like your frequency will rise. They can't be around you when your frequency gets too high. So just continue. Let me see if anything else comes up. I don't know how related this is, but just something that popped into my mind. How I deal with things that come into my sphere that are dark, that I recognize and just like, no. That's literally my reaction is, you are not welcomed here. But I do it with authority because I understand that, being that this is my realm, physicality is my realm. This is not their realm. They're not welcomed here. They're only welcomed here if I allow. And I'm just like, oh, let me just like not say anything. Oh my God, let me be afraid and feed you some more so you stick around harder. So I like, if I sense something, I'll get really like, and like for example, there was this one situation where I was being bombarded. My pineal gland was receiving images from like, and I remember when this was happening, I'm just like, and I'm really, even though I'm an emotional person, I'm really logical as well. So I just remember just like, this doesn't make any sense. There are no pirates. Without getting into there are no pilots down there. This is not going on, even though my body was having all these reactions because my mind was being fed this information. My logical side was like, this is not happening, but like at the same time, like, I got so afraid. I felt like what paranoia felt like. This is because it was projected onto me, these images. I got a knife and everything. I was just like, oh my God, like it made no sense. What am I fighting? Like it just made no logical sense. So anyway, so what I did was, I just remember what I did was, I was just like, oh, I'm being psychically attacked. Okay. So in my mind's eye, I was like, I expanded myself in the etheric realm, let's say. So I remember just getting really big and saying, you are not welcome here, leave now. So you're just become an authority. Your words are magic. Use it. This is mere manifestation, especially this is your realm. You tell it to leave, it has to leave. But it can't be like, oh, can you please leave? Yeah, that's not an energy of power, you know?
Wow, that was That's some great information. This was a wonderful conversation. I mean, we touched on a lot of different things, and I mean, all of it was very transformative. So, the way I like to go out is I like to ask my guests what their go to grounding technique is. What is it that keeps you human, especially doing all this ethereal work in the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, all that stuff we are talking about? What keeps you in the 3D? What keeps you human?
Yeah, because you got to be grounded no matter how high your consciousness goes, no matter how much you expand into the your consciousness into the, let's say, 5D realm. You have to make sure you're grounded, because we live in this physical world. You have to always, like, you can't just, you incarnated to have a physical life. That's it, period. So anyway, yes, very important to ground. It has to be, especially the more sensitive you are, the more you have to, like, make sure you're on top of it. For me, I'm very sensitive. I have to do it every day. Something that I would love to be an everyday thing, but unfortunately, I live in a situation where the climate could get really cold. I can't always go outside and walk barefoot, or so I would, when the weather's warm, I would do stuff like I'll go to the park and I'll sit in the grass, I'll lean on a tree, or I'll just sit in the grass and have my feet, make sure I always take off my shoes and socks, plant my feet on the ground. Um, so again, I can't do that all the time. What I have something called a grounding sheet, but there's also something called a grounding mat. You could purchase this places, just type in grounding mat, grounding sheet. You could definitely find a grounding sheet for about $20. So it's not like, if you're struggling with money, it's not like something that will break you. So my main go-to, something that I obviously have available to me on an everyday basis, is so I'll do it with my mind. I will close my eyes, and I will imagine there being a golden cord that's going all the way down to the earth, and it keeps going, going, going until it reaches the center, the core. And just the way it works for me, kind of just like, again, just what works for me. I guess I'm gonna say somatically. I don't know if that's a good word to use, but let's say it. So like that, there's like kind of hooks that go all the way down into the core. So I'm like really nice and connected, and I'll feel it in my heart. That's how I know I'm like really, really there. Like in the beginning, I don't think that was how I experienced it, but now the result is that, like, after connecting, I'll actually feel it in my heart. Like I'll feel the
I feel
planet.
my heart right now as you're saying that.
Yeah, yeah. Like so that's my main method of grounding. Um, Eating certain foods. Um, so I am somebody that likes to eat plant-based mostly, but also, being that, I grew up, in a society and a family that ate meat, my body still still asks for meat from time to time, and meat is grounding. So like I'll have meat to kind of like to kind of satisfy that I'm gonna call it imbalance, from like eating flesh all my life, so like I would like to eventually not eat meat and not desire meat, but I'm also not going to force myself and go against what my body needs. And if you want
Do you eat
to,
chicken?
I eat chicken. Every, let's say, maybe couple of weeks, I'll eat a little bit of chicken. I'll make sure that it's not uh, raised and treated unkindly. So like make sure that it's has a decent life. Um, I I like to have specifically smoked salmon, so I'll have that once a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, very cool.
yeah. So, oh, and if you are somebody that chooses not to have flesh, um, make sure you get a sublingual vitamin B12. Vimergy is a really good brand
Okay.
to really, very necessary. You have to have that one. Yeah.
Okay, I might have to incorporate some B12. I do vitamin D every day, and I do, I have other supplements, but that's the one vitamin I do every day. It's vitamin D.
You know
Ever
what I've
since I
been
found out about it.
Yeah, it's sublingual, very important. Um, I've also been doing zinc. And you know what else I've been doing? Like I do other things. Vitamin C throughout the day. Just kind of keep things good. I've been into Shilajit.
What is it?
Shilajit, Shilijit, if I'm spelling correctly. So
Okay.
basically, it's something. It's let's say I feel like it's throughout the world, different places. I don't know how many places. Probably not that many, but I don't know. But let's say in the Himalayas, like that, there's between rocks, there's plants that are pressed, and just throughout, I don't know, whatever amount of time, they just become this not residue. They just resin. That's the word. They become
Okay.
this resin, and this resin is collected. I don't know what they do with it, but basically it's collected. They put it in a little jar. You scoop it, and then you put it in like a little shot glass and let the water dissolve it. And it's filled with minerals. Like everything that plants. It's in plants. I don't know. It's just like if you look at the label, everything that your body needs, like your hair will grow like shinier and stronger, and it's really good for you.
Okay, I gotta look into that. I've been doing
So good.
zeolite to pull out all the metals, all the heavy metals. My face, I mean, I don't know if you can see my light; it's not really good, but I got some bad blemishes around my mouth in that region. It seems like it's pulling it out of me that I've been having what appear to be pimples, but they don't act the same way as pimples. Just come out in the weirdest places.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I started the zeolite, like the back of my head, my forehead, like this.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I myself, I don't know why. There's something, it could be maybe just not right for me. There's something that doesn't sit well with me. Um,
Mm.
I know, like what I do a natural version of this. Basically, there's like a certain ingredient list, which basically it's vegetables, fruits, and herbs. One of which is parsley. Another one is Atlantic Dolce, which will pull all this stuff out. So like while the cilantro, let's say, will get it out of your cells, then get it deep out of your cells. The Atlantic Dolce will suck it up and like hold on to it until it exits your system. So it's called heavy metal detox, that is channeled by Anthony William, who has a book. He has many books about health. The book is called Medical Medium. And there a lot of people try to slander him. And when I read because I got into his information really deep, and it actually helped me get to where I am myself health-wise. Anyway, so when I looked on the internet reviews, there's a lot of like people like just shitting on him, and like I'll read the review and I'm like they'll say like ridiculous things that I know are not true. For example, I just remember reading this one thing and I'm just like, literally none of this is true. None of this information in these paragraphs is true. Like this person reviewing, none of this information is true. And she ended it with oh, and he doesn't believe in liver cleanses. Meanwhile, he literally has a book, a thick book that's called Liver Rescue. So it's like he's being shitted on from left, right, and I'm just like, are people paying all these people? Like that's what it sounds like to me. So it's just like so maybe he's onto something. And then on the other side of that, he has all these celebrities raving about him, and so like people go to me and they're like, oh, see, these celebrities approve of him. I'm like, yeah, maybe because his stuff works. And what is he gonna do? Like, oh no, like maybe he's not a conspiracy theorist. Maybe he's into just being with his family. Maybe he's into channeling this information and being with his family. Maybe he doesn't know that these celebrities are plugged into this fucked up world, so what, so I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, he's wonderful. I highly believe in the heavy metal detox to go that route. It takes some getting used to, and I would recommend doing it maybe for a month, no longer than a month at a time, maybe a couple times a year. I personally can't do a month because I'm just so sensitive. All this stuff I don't do well on long periods.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive.
Not even 14 days. I'm 10 days. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm very sensitive to things too, so you do have to be very careful with that.
Yeah,
And everyone listening, do your own research, and whatever you
absolutely.
guys want to do is up to you. So
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you so much for coming on, Natasha.
Yes.
This
Thank you
was
for having me.
Yes, this was a great conversation. I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. As soon as I heard you talk on the psychedelic roundtable, I was like, oh, I want to have her on the podcast. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm so glad I got to have you on. And it sounds like you're doing some great work helping children and well,
Yeah.
just people in general, but
People in
helping
general.
helping out, doing everything that you can to help humanity. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's definitely my passion. Working with those on the spectrum, that's definitely my passion. Just because, like, again, that subject is so misunderstood. So, like, I kind of try to wherever I can talk about, like, hey, the medical community admits they don't understand it,
Mhm.
and I'm telling you what's up. They're poisoned. It's that simple. It's not a disorder. They're being poisoned. Stop poisoning them. It's really simple. So that's my main passion. That's where my heart mostly lies. Another, I offer a bunch of other things, but the main thing that I offer is called QHHT, which is past life regression. So if anybody's interested, um, can I plug myself?
Yeah,
Or,
absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say that next. Yeah.
So I do have a podcast and I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, I would say, is fairly new-ish. Podcast is also kind of new. I have 30 episodes down. I'm still slowly but surely. So my podcast is called Greetings Earth Family, and my YouTube is called Quantum Musings as an inspiration. And I actually just recently had this idea that I'm totally going to go for. I'm excited, so excited. So it's going to be, because my podcast is just a what is it called? Verbal audio podcast. And I just had the inspiration to do a video podcast about people's ascension stories.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just really excited. Can you imagine talking to a bunch of people like ourselves and just like, so tell me about all these times that you fell on your face. How fun is that? Like, and people
Yeah.
could like relate to, because like the ascension journey, as we know, is not
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I feel like this will be a great way for people to kind of like, wow, I'm not alone. You know?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
oh
that's what, like,
wow.
the first, 40 episodes of mine. So, like, the first 13 are my story, and then, like, the next almost 30 are what you were just describing. And then after that, I kind of fell into what I'm doing now. It kind of leads that way. But yeah, that's how I started. That's my idea for the podcast was, okay, I
Yeah,
want to
I love
talk to
it.
people about all the messed up things. That's why it's called Goodness Over Darkness. I want to talk about how did the goodness overcome the darkness.
Right.
So
Yeah. So I'll have that podcast, which will be called Ascension Stories. It will be probably on my audio podcast. But I will definitely have it also as video on my YouTube channel.
very
I
cool.
think that's it. That's it. Thank you so much for having me. I really
Yes.
love doing this stuff. It's fun.
Yes,
And
me
you learn
too.
about yourself and other people. It's good stuff. Yeah,
Yes,
thank
it
you.
is. Yes, thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to say goodbye to our audience. Goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you later.